Hi, Financially Healthy here. Please like, subscribe, hit that like button. Help me with my algorithm. Subscribe, please. I have over 30 videos. They all deal with financial matters. I even have some that deal with personal matters that help you, maybe holding you back financially. I would just love for you to try it. Excited to see you today. And this is part 2 of some is buying a rental property right for you? Part 1 was yesterday. This is part 2. Okay. Now, to take up where we left off, you have to have a lease that applies to your state and is legal. And of course, that goes kind of without saying, but just don't download anything from the internet. It must apply to your state or it's not legal. And that's just how it is. And stick to the lease. If they're, like I said, a penalty for late payment, make the person pay the penalty. It's $10 a day and they're late 2 days. Just add that on to it and say, hey, I'm going to be adding on $10 for every day you're late. And it just, sometimes it's a dysfunctional relationship and sometimes it's a functional relationship. But some people will try to see how far they can get. And here's an example. I had tenants that she wrote me a bad check. I took it to my bank and I didn't know the teller, but the other teller knows me. And so this teller called the other teller over and the teller says to me, hey, Marlene, this check will not go through. She will be charged and you will be charged. I said, well, and then she would be charged what I was charged. I had no idea that it was not a good check. So I called the woman whom is my renter and signed a lease. And I left a message and I said, hey, your name. Your check was not accepted by my bank. They say you don't have funds in your bank and they have like a network of systems. They can tell you that. But they did not put it through, so they did not make it so you got charged for not having the funds in there, nor did I get charged for that check going through and being cashed. So you don't owe those 2 fees. 3 days passed, and that woman never returned my call. I had to call her husband, who lived with her, and say, hey, so-and-so, I called your wife and explained the situation on this check bouncing, and she never returned my call. Oh, well, she accidentally paid for health insurance. We'll have you a new check tomorrow. It's like, okay. But, it's pretty important that I get good checks and that if I call and there was a mistake, an honest mistake made, I get a call back. Because anytime you call me, I call you right back. As soon as I can. So you give as good as you get. And if I'm a good landlord, and I am, no one will say I'm not. I've had former tenants call and ask if anything was available. So that doesn't happen. So stick to your guns. If you say no pets and there's pets there, it's in the lease. The pet is going in 3 days. Or if you cannot part with that pet that you just acquired, because you didn't have it when you signed a lease, then you and the pet are gone in 3 days. The pet's gone in 3 days. Whether it takes you with it or not, that's up to you. But I don't know if that one really hold up in court, but the pet would be gone in 3 days. If I said, I'm not going to have that pet. Renters will do damage. Yes. This is, I guess, these last people just soured me. I have renters in another home, and, they're a delight. They're older. They're over 50. He used to be a maintenance man in a building. I never get a call No. They keep their lawn looking like a park. Their pets are all indoor, all fixed and indoor. They have a couple cats. Um, they, you know, I never have to, and I thank them by taking, there's a place he likes in a neighboring town, and my nephew sells the hoagies for his preschool. Great nephew. So I took them a hoagie and said, hey, I want to thank you. I really appreciate how you keep the house, you decorate and everything. And it's good. And so when you have good tenants, catch them being good, like they say about kids, catch them being good. Don't always just catch them being bad. But renters can do damage, and when you let them have pets, that can do damage. And like I said, the ones who gave me the bad check also went out drinking one night, and I get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning that they have a waterfall in my living room. And it's a 2-story, and that's right below the bathtub. And upon tearing out the ceiling and them moaning and complaining the whole time, there was not found to be any broken pipes, intake pipes, or outtake pipes, or leaks. And they would not admit, but there was a wet rug that day up there and a wet dry vac at the house, which was never there before. Imagine that. Okay, so, and I said, why is this rug wet? And he said, I've been up here with wet feet. I said, well, why would you be clear up here with wet feet? The problem's downstairs. You just you got to cut your losses and just say, okay. But the kicker was they really complained because you had to pull down the ceiling, which made a mess. And and they left their dog there for me to watch. Oh, dogs are fine. I just don't want one. And this dog barked all the time. Oh, this is, when renting goes well, it goes very well. When it goes bad, it goes very bad. Ripped down the whole ceiling, rewired it, put pan lights in it, made sure there was no plumbing issue. So I have no idea. The tub did not overflow, according to them. But, we'll let bygones be bygones. They're out of my hair. But they were shocked when I looked at them and left a note that said, I can't afford to rent to you. Consider this your 45-day, which is 15 days more than I have to give you. If you look at our lease, I will not be renewing the lease in December and be putting the house up for sale. But I haven't done that yet, and now is not a good time to do that. Like I said, you got to praise the good ones and kind of show the door to the bad ones. And the good ones require, even if you're like, don't raise the rent on them, because, and yes, I get battered by property taxes, but will cost you more to get good tenants in there, and you may not get good tenants back in there. So kind of like bite the bullet, they will move eventually, probably on their own. And if they don't, that's good. They're good tenants. And yeah, there might come a day where I just, I'm not making any profit, so whatever. It's okay now though. Yeah, and praise them. Like I walked up there and I'm like, wow, your yard looks like a park. And it did. Repairs will, another thing you must consider, repairs will be unexpected and expensive. I have had the ceiling thing and the electric and the plumbing checked. And actually even tore out part of a wall I never had to tear out because there was no leaks. So I had all that. I had to repaint. I have, here's a kicker. Gonna call on a Saturday night. The wall cabinet just came off by itself. You watch these repair shows or flipping shows, you know how much tugging they gotta do on a wall cabinet. I went over there, that wall cabinet, the next morning. It's a wall cabinet. It's not crucial. I'm gonna get it and paint to match the other cabinets. And I did. It was in pieces. It was in pieces. It was like, he just like, how strong am I? I mean, I really said to my loved ones, I really think I'm done. But yes, repairs will happen. I usually set aside $10,000 as an emergency fund for each home. And that, you know, and a little more. I had to put a roof on this year. The year before, I had to get a hot water heater. Sometimes you don't spend that money. Sometimes you spend it all plus. I had to replace that ceiling, but the other house didn't cost me anything, You know what I mean. It's okay to set rules in your lease and stick to them. Costing them money for non-compliance really has a way of teaching people a lesson. And I'm not being mean, but if I pay a bill late, I'm charged a late fee. I don't do that. I would never do that. I don't think I've ever done it. But I understand it would be a late fee. But renters, and now is a different time. Now I work, I'll do anything they need. We'll work together to get through this and stuff like that. But it's just, back then, that time we're having now was not happening. And I told you the story about the bad check, and it's just like, keep up your side of the bargain. Be a good landlord. Don't be absentee. I don't see a reason to have, a lot of people have management companies. That's realtors who basically manage the property. So the tenant calls them at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then they call you at 8. So basically, you're paying them $60 to $100 to hear the same bad news, but at a little later time, which I don't really see how that helps. I see it as a waste of money. I'll deal with it, and then I'll know it was dealt with right. But I keep up my part of the bargain. I keep my properties nice. When there's a problem, it's fixed. If they need a part, I get it for them. If their dishwasher wasn't working because they threw their GDI, or ground fault indicate interrupter, GFI, I went over and pushed it back in. And I'm there within minutes. And like I said, I'm the kind of landlord that people call back and say, do you have any rentals? Please tell me you have our house back, or you have rentals. And I can't help them sometimes. But former tenants want to rent off me again. That's how you should treat them. And that's how they like to be treated. And I wouldn't expect to treat them. Keep an eye on your property. Screen your tenants very carefully. Don't be afraid to lay down the law. And be sure for respect your tenants. If you have the right to go in and inspect a property, it's in your lease. I have to give them 24 hours notice. I can come in and inspect the property. I am Financially Healthy is the name of my channel. I am Marlene. Please help me out here, subscribe, and yeah, give me that big thumbs up. And as I said, I'd like to get to 10 subscribers, but once I get to 100, I'll do a giveaway. I promise. Okay, this is part 2. I know it wasn't all that great. It's not always gloom and doom. When it goes well, it goes really well. When it doesn't go well, it goes really bad. But thank you for watching the video, and I will see you soon. This is part 2. Please like, subscribe, comment. Any ideas on any future videos? More than happy to do them if they deal with finance, and promoting good health and finances and stuff like that. Take care.